Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Livestream, studentloanjustice.org. Little apologies to Billy Joel out there. I hope everybody is doing well out there in the world. Welcome to, that's not my hat. Welcome to studentloanjustice.org. We are the oldest, largest, first, and only true grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. Hey, by the way, get a shirt if you can. I don't know. I think Lisa may have taken down the storefront, but if the storefront is open, that's not it. If the storefront is open at that link right there, get a shirt. They're fun. They're collector's items. You can also get a distressed hat. See the tear here? That's on purpose. You can get a hat. Last fundraising thing. I hate fundraising, guys. I'm no good at it. We don't need a whole lot of money to do what we do, fight and win this battle, but we can't do it on nothing. So please, if you would, just please donate right there. So I can shut up about it. It would be very helpful. Anyways, happy Sunday, guys. Hope everybody had a good week. If you're new to the group, welcome. We, as I said, are the oldest, largest, all that stuff. We've done a lot. We've been around for 17 years, guys. We're fighting for two things: the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. Number one, the most important thing, whether you would ever or never file, doesn't matter. The whole core of this whole thing lies in the absence of bankruptcy protections. Got to get those back. If we're going to see meaningful student loan cancellation, which is the second thing that this group is fighting for. This group right here started the petition in March 2020 before almost anybody was talking about canceling student loans by executive order, calling on then President Trump to cancel student loans by executive order and also return bankruptcy to student loans. And I can talk about why bankruptcy is so important in a minute if you're interested. But tonight I want to kind of just do a free form night. So if you have any questions or comments, and I can see you on Facebook or YouTube, by all means, throw them out, and I am very happy to respond to them in situ. Speaking of which, the song I just tried to play was a Billy Joel song called Big Shot, if you happen to know that song. And, you know, Joe Biden has a chance to be a very big shot. You know, I don't have much good to say about Joe Biden. The best thing that I have to say about Joe Biden on the student loan issue, it's not that he caused it, which he did. Not that he is a model of ethical integrity on the student loan issue. He is not. Best thing I have to say about Joe Biden is that Joe Biden is a politician. And typically that's not a very nice thing to say, but Joe Biden is a politician. He will go which way the wind blows. And right now, the wind is blowing very strongly at the Democrats. Our wind. We are the eye of this storm, by the way. This group right here, if you're new to the group, it may not seem like we're that big of a deal, but in fact, we have over 1 million people, and we would not have a bankruptcy bill to fight for, but for the people and the work that they've done on this group. We probably would not be talking about student loan cancellation by executive order, but for this group, our petition, and the work that the people on this group have done. So to all of you out there who've been with us for any length of time and who have been working with us doing the not particularly glamorous, but certainly not hard work necessary to push this issue forward, I salute you. I thank you, and you have a lot to be proud of. And I hope that all of you are stoked at how far we have come in the past 2.5, 3 years. All opposition to bankruptcy has dropped away. We still need to get our bill pushed, S-2598. We've got to get that sucker passed by the end of the year, guys. But realistically, the Democrats are going to do what the Democrats are going to do before October, because that's when early voting begins. So our backs are against the wall, ladies and gentlemen, and we are the largest untethered voting bloc in U.S. history. There are 42 million distressed student loan borrowers in the country. In other words, People who are losing sleep over their student loans, 42 million people. That's 42 million out of 55, 56 million maybe in total when you include private loans and cosigners on private loans. And we used to be tethered to the Democrats. I would say that is true, certainly around the 2020 election campaign, we were tethered to the Democrats because Joe Biden said things like, I will eliminate your student loan debt if you earn less than $125,000 a year, went to public college. He adopted Elizabeth Warren's bankruptcy agenda, which included returning bankruptcy protections to student loans. Joe Biden tethered us to the Democratic Party, but unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, it's not really. We're a nonpartisan group, by the way. So you know, we kind of hate both parties, but in different ways. But we are now untethered because Biden betrayed us. Up to this point, Biden and the Democrats have betrayed us. So 42 million distressed voters is indeed the largest politically untethered voting bloc in U.S. history. Now, Joe Biden is a politician, and he has a chance to do something very big right now. He could cancel every nickel of federal student loan debt by executive order. He could do that tomorrow. He could have done this on January 20th, 2021, if he had wanted to. That would have changed the country. It would have lifted a massive, massive and terrible weight from those 42 million people. Most of those 42 million people are older people, by the way, not younger people. Most of those, believe it or not, most of those people are politically either Republican or independent. I kid you not. This is not a partisan issue, ladies and gentlemen. So Joe Biden has a chance to be a very big shot right now. And in my humble opinion, we're a nonpartisan group, but we are very partisan aware. And the Democrats are about to get smoked in this election. I think if you disagree, let's have that debate. And by the way, as I said, questions or comments are totally open mic tonight. So if you have anything you want to get off your chest, etc., please let's hear it. But I think the Democrats have to do something extremely big if they're going to pull this upcoming election out of their ass. Now, I will also say that, and maybe this plays for the Democrats, the Republicans are doing everything they can do, certainly with us 42 million untethered student loan voters. The Republicans are doing everything possible to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Like the things that some of these Republicans are saying are just heinous, like Virginia Fox and pretty much every elected official from North Carolina almost. People like, just many, many, many Republicans are just wagging their finger at the borrowers rather than pointing out that this is a big government, red state wrecking monstrosity that no true conservative should ever support, much less defend, which is exactly what people like Virginia Fox are doing. So I'm going to look for your comments here now. I'm going to keep it kind of short tonight. The news that happened this past week, there was very little news. Very little important news. Like there's always news on the student loan issue now. There used to be like one article written per month when we first started 17 years ago. Now there's probably 15 to 20 articles per day written on the issue. This is how hot this issue is right now. But 14 out of those 15 articles that are written every day are written by the swamp. They're against us. So I don't even pay them no mind. I literally do not read Forbes magazine anymore. That Forbes is garbage. It's trash. Many other mainstream media outlets have become just mouthpieces for propaganda from our opponents. And it's a sad thing to see, but it is what it is. The biggest news that broke last week, we broke, actually. And history will certainly bear that out. But right now, you would never know about it unless you were on this group. We published a research paper which showed very clearly that despite government claims that the government is losing money on student loans and has been since 2010, we published a white paper that showed very clearly that the two key assumptions that that claim is based on are absolutely and utterly false. The government has not been losing money on the federal student loan program over the past 10 years. They have been making money, and they've been making an obscene amount of it. And I can go into that if you're really interested. I'm really, quite frankly, to me, it's tragic that that to date, not even one journalist, well, knock on wood, we've gotten some investigative journalist interest in that particular piece of research that we did. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. But as of right now, today, no one in the media has reported that fact. By the way, so you know, we've broken a ton of very incredibly important research, both in the media and I'd say more often than not, just on our little blog, on our little Medium platform. You know, we were the group that discovered that older people outnumber younger people with student loans. We are the group that discovered that most people with student loans, in other words, most people who've been to college, are either Republican or independent, not Democrats. Like, we are the group that discovered that even before the pandemic, most people were not paying on their student loans. So, and this is not, you know, esoteric, complicated research. This is just us looking at Department of Education data, White House budget data, you know, freely publicly available public information that anybody can get. And it's not perfect information, but it's the best information available out there. So it's very easily sourced, very easily checked. Why is the mainstream media not reporting these truths? I don't know, guys. The media has gotten super terrible over the past 15 years. Since 2008, the media has become just so bad. Driven by a corporate agenda, maybe driven by a Washington, D.C. agenda, maybe driven by a Wall Street agenda. The media has gotten really, really bad. So this revolution may not be televised, ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you. But knock on wood, we'll see. If you'd like to see any of the stories that we've broken over the past couple of years, some of them will blow your freaking mind. I kid you not. And we've broken news in the past on the Wall Street Journal and the Chronicle of Higher Education, on 60 Minutes, top story. Like, we are no slouches, and the research we do is top notch, but yet the media does what the media wants to do, I suppose. It's just the reality of where we live today. But you can look at some jaw-dropping, mostly unreported headlines for yourself at studentloanjustice.medium.com, and you will be amazed at the truth behind student loans that nobody is reporting. I am live now, Joanna Kearns. Yes, I am. And I'm still looking for your comments. Sometimes I can't even see. Okay, here they are. Okay, good. I think this is it. Yes, it is. I'm going to look for your comments here. Hey, there I am. Comments. Okay, here are the comments, finally. Yes, it is. Stop that. Gordon Wayne Watts says, what song did I miss? You didn't miss much. Apologies to Billy Joel. Michael Cheney says, order a hat, still hurting from the cutting wood, but DDA. Case in point, we're not liberal snowflake Democrats in this group. Michael Cheney chops wood, for example. I happen to know Michael Cheney is a truck driver, and Michael Cheney was covered in the New York Times recently. So hats off to you, Michael. Enjoy your hat. Hopefully you'll get it soon. I hope you will wear it proudly. And if you have gotten one of our cool hats, studentloanjustice.org or no, bit.ly/SLJ hats. I hope you'll take a picture of it and throw it up. These hats and shirts are probably most valuable as like marketing stuff to spread the word about this group. By the way, as I said, this group is the center of the universe in student loans. We are really the thought leaders here, guys. As I said, we would not have a bankruptcy bill to fight for. We would probably not be talking about student loan cancellation by executive order, but for this group and the people on this group, like Michael Cheney and Terry Dodd. I see Terry Dodd says, happy Sunday, everybody. Kara, Victoria, Leslie. Hey, Leslie. and many others. So I see we have a massive ton of comments. If I can't get through them all tonight, ladies and gentlemen, apologies in advance. But let's roll with these comments. Kara Rodriguez, great question. What is the status of S2598? If you forget everything I hear that you hear tonight, ladies and gentlemen, remember this: we will not see meaningful student loan cancellation unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy back. We will not get the threat of bankruptcy back unless and until we get a bill passed that's in the Senate right now, S2598. It's a bill. It's in the Senate. It returns bankruptcy rights to federal student loans. There has never been a more important bill in the 17-year history of our group, and the bill could be passed tomorrow. Dick Durbin is the sponsor of the bill. He's chairman of the Judiciary Committee. He has got 2 Republican co-sponsors on this bill, in Josh Hawley and John Cornyn out of Missouri and Texas, respectively. We've got to get this bill passed. And to that end, if you forget everything I say tonight, remember this: we need everyone, including you, to go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, and do at least a week, if not a month, worth of our daily actions. We have a huge muscle to flex, ladies and gentlemen. Over 1 million people on our group, including our petition, our website, our Facebook, our Instagram, all of our other platforms. We've got over 1 million people. And if even 10% of those people were doing our daily actions, we would overwhelm every phone line in Washington, D.C. We would overwhelm every Twitter account on Twitter that we target. This problem would be solved. We'd probably make national news like on a weekly basis if over 100,000 people a day were doing our daily actions. They're quick, they're easy, they're simple. They probably won't take more than like 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes at the most of your time. And there is no better, more effective, more valuable, more efficient, and did I say effective use of your time than doing these daily actions. So go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, and do our daily actions. And let me just click that in for you. Do our daily actions. Don't forget that. Do not forget that. So freaking important. So the status of the bill is what I just said, Kara. The bill could be passed tomorrow. I can say, I can't really tell you everything I know, unfortunately, but I will say Joe Biden and the Democrats are going to announce something, I would hope, before September 1st, when the student loan pause is set to expire. In fact, I would quite frankly think that if they're going to extend the repayment pause at a minimum, they should announce it this coming week. They may announce much more than that, but after they make their announcement, I would expect and I would hope that the bill will be primed and pushed and put through the Senate very quickly thereafter, followed by a companion bill in the House, very quickly thereafter signed into law by the president. But it kind of depends on Biden, guys. Whatever Biden's going to do, we don't know. We don't know. So I hope that helps. The one thing I do know, ladies and gentlemen, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is that this stuff does not happen in a vacuum. You know, this group, what we do and what we don't do, I think will probably tell the tale on S2598, on getting the right of bankruptcy back, and by extension, everything that follows after that. So what we do tonight, what we do this week, what we do for the next 2 weeks, what we do for the next 6 weeks before early voting begins in October, I think that's going to be the up or the down for how this turns out for us. You know, we could have a great, clean, quick solution to this student loan problem, ladies and gentlemen. Get bankruptcy rights returned. Finally, the fire is lit under Joe Biden. It's a pretty direct path from there to meaningful, actual student loan cancellation. You know, the student loan cancellation we're going to see from Biden, as long as the threat of bankruptcy remains gone, it's going to be bullshit, guys. It's going to be bullshit. Up to $10,000 will be nonsense. It already is nonsense, even if it was $10,000 for everyone. That is nonsense for the large majority, probably 70, 75% of the people on this group. It's nonsense. You may as well add $10,000 on my loan balance. I could give two shits. But it's even worse than that, because up to $10,000 could mean anything. And after means testing and bureaucratization, when the student loan swamp, all the swamp creatures at the Department of Education and the lawyers and the blah, 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 all the bad guys, once they have their hooks into this up to $10,000 gimmick, it'll come to mean almost nothing for almost everybody and absolutely nothing for many, if not most. So that's what we don't want, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, that is the worst case scenario, is that we see some bogus loan cancellation gimmick foisted upon us as a cheap substitute for the threat of bankruptcy that the founding fathers called for in the Constitution, by the way. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy, least of all me, least of all you. Nobody does. And very few people should even have to file when we get the right return. But we've got to get the threat back in order for in order to see that the president will actually cancel loans broadly, widespread, meaningfully, deeply, maybe even totally. I don't know. If I was in Washington, D.C., working at the Department of Education, looking at the data, I would say it's time to end this thing. This thing is done. It's done. It can't be saved. There's no good reason to save this failed lending program. Cancel all the loans, suspend the lending program. No more loans going forward. Fund the colleges at maybe a reduced rate for a year, a direct funding thing for a year, and reinvent a higher education funding model for this country. That would be my advice to the president. There's no good reason to keep this failed lending beast, this zombie, on life support. There's just not. Nobody's going to pay. Student loans are essentially one big national joke at this point. You may as well write the whole damn thing off, throw it on the scrap heap of failed U.S. policy experiments. Call it stimulus if you want. Point to the PPP program, which is way more expensive than canceling student loans. Whatever floats your boat, but get rid of this piece of garbage and set the nation free, and let's get this disastrous nightmare behind us as a country. That's what I would do. And quite frankly, I think people like Richard Cordray and James Kowal, they're kind of the same mind. I think if they're being honest with themselves, because they see the data that I see, guys, and it's no secret in Washington, D.C. This lending system is toast. So take heart in that. This lending system has failed, guys. Before the pandemic, 58.9% of everybody was not paying on their loans. That's before the pandemic. That's nearly 2/3 of everyone was not paying on their student loans before the pandemic. Today, right now, almost nobody's paying. And whenever they try and turn this Frankenstein of a lending beast back on, very few people will pay. And that will diminish rapidly like that within a few months after repayment is demanded. So student loans are toast, guys. There could be a clean, quick, good ending, like I just said. There could also be a disastrously bad dystopian ending, which I don't even want to go there. We don't want to go there, guys. I've been doing this for 17 years. I want these loans gone. I hope you agree. If you do agree, then the one thing that you will do, the minimum that you might do, is do our daily actions. Our daily actions. You have no idea how important you are. And to Victoria and Terry and Kara and Michael and everybody else, Leslie, that I see on the group here tonight, who I know, and Gordon, who have been doing the daily actions, I salute you. We all have a lot to be proud of. And you are the people that got us to where we are today over the past, say, 2 or 3 years. To everybody else, you better get off your ass, because we're not here for your entertainment. This is your problem. This is your livelihood that hangs in the balance here. And so if ever you were going to actually fight, now would be the time. Terry Dodd says, I think the pause is going to get extended because I really don't see anyone repaying should they turn the system back on. Good point, Terry. I think I just kind of covered that. And plus, to turn the lending system back on, certainly before the November elections, would be political suicide. But it's an interesting question. You know, in months and even years past, when they have extended the pause, they've done it 5 weeks, even a month and a half before the pause was set to expire. So now we're here getting down towards like 2 weeks left before the deadline comes up, and not a peep from Biden. I really don't think Biden wants to extend the pause. I really do not think that he wants to extend the pause. That's what I think. So we'll see what the Democrats do. You know, we're good either way, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, we're a nonpartisan group. We are fighting the right battle, and we are now at the right time in the right place, and we cannot be stopped. The only thing is whether we're going to get a good, quick, clean, politically expedient end to this lending disaster, or whether they're going to try and string it out, whether the swamp will succeed in stringing it out any further. But I agree with you, Terry. I think it would be political suicide for the Democrats and Biden to not turn the lending system back on, or to not extend the pause before the election. But anyways, it will be what it is, guys. We're good whichever way it goes. But just remember, if you want to help, the best thing you can do is our daily actions. Michael Cheney says taxation without representation, unless you have a lobbyist. Yeah. The injustices and even straight up illegality of the federal student loan program is something I've talked about many times in the past. I would call it more than a tax without representation. I would call it at this point indentured servitude. Like, I would call it theft, quite frankly. I would call it robbery, legalized robbery, albeit, but robbery nonetheless. That's a good guess, Leslie. Finally, somebody guessed the song. It was hard. I kind of fucked it up, but Christina Winton from Arizona says, these are all great questions because we won't be getting any real notice payments starting this point. Yeah, guys, it is the Wild West out here right now. The federal student loan system is evaporating into a mist of illegitimacy as we speak. It is crumbling, it is falling apart. Nobody knows what to do, least of all the people in Washington, D.C. It's like a horse in a hospital. Like, nobody knows what the horse is going to do, least of all the horse. That's John Mulaney, by the way. Hats off to John Mulaney. Hope he's doing well. Funny guy. Jody Vaughn says, I'm interested in that. Joe Almy says, they all lie. They want to play the victims. I could go on. In fact, I have done full live streams about all the lies that are told against us by the bad people. Lie after lie. I'm going to just leave it there at that. But Joe, I'm going to quote you again, Joe, because Joe says, it's sad anyone believes that shit. Pardon Joe's French. We love French on this group, by the way. So much bullshit and lies out there. Just don't believe the mainstream media, guys. If you read 20 articles on student loans, 18 or 19 of them are going to be completely full of lies. They're going to be well-sourced lies, but I'm telling you guys, the way the bad guys spin the data is just disgusting. Like the lie that canceling student loans will benefit the wealthy. The lie that canceling student loans will cause inflation. These are all lies, guys. This is all fraud, easily proven fraud. But the mainstream media, they're playing to short attention span, not very intellectually curious people. And so, the headlines really are the news for many people. And, they're not going to look more closely past the headlines. So, that's a good point, Joe. The idea that they lose money lends more credence to the idea to end the whole damn thing. It's a very sophisticated game that's going on with all the misinformation around the federal student loan program, Joe. And the federal government is making a ton of money on the student loan program, but they're afraid, and in years past, under different administrations for different political reasons, they have admitted that they are making a ton of money on this lending scam. But that is a risky thing to do, because anytime a government agency says, yeah, we're making a lot of money, that's just not the way it's done in Washington. In Washington, the way it's done, if you're the head of a federal agency, you say, oh, well, things are tight. We're running a tight ship and we're very efficient, but we need more money. We definitely need more money. That's the way the game goes in Washington. And so to say, oh, we're making money hand over fist on this federal student loan program, you don't want to do that, because that would be your last words at a budget meeting before your budget gets axed. It's the same for all the federal agencies, but you're right, Joe. I agree with you. And the federal student loan program absolutely should be ended, and it will be ended by popular unconsent, if nothing else. That's where we come in, guys. In my humble opinion, well-studied opinion, no one, including you, should ever repay another penny on your federal student loans. Certainly. That is not only probably unwise, but it is certainly unpatriotic. Unpatriotic to ever pay on your federal student loans again. I'm serious. This is a beast that should not be fed. It should be taken to the bath and drowned in the tub. And that is a very conservative thing that I just said, by the way. Google Grover Norquist and don't feed and drown in the tub, and you can see why what I just said is in principle a very conservative thing, despite the swamp creatures like Grover Norquist, who cruelest irony of all time almost, opposes student loan cancellation and fights very hard to get the loans turned back on. That would be Grover Norquist, the guy who coined the phrase take it to the bath and drown it in the tub. So, okay, guys, and I'm sorry, I just can't do all these comments tonight, guys. There's just too many. But Leslie, Victoria, Michael, everybody out there tonight, we are on the cusp, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to make history one way or the other. Let's make good history for once, shall we? I've never been more optimistic. I can see, smell, feel, taste the light at the end of the tunnel. Can't really taste light or hear light, but you get my point. We are approaching victory. We've never been closer, and we've never needed your help. You sitting there, we are not here for your entertainment. We've never needed your help to solve this problem, which is your problem. This is your livelihood on the line here. We've never needed your help more than we do right now today. So if you forget everything I said, remember, do at least a week, if not a month, worth of our daily actions. Tell everyone you know about this group right here. Most of the other groups are complete nonsense, guys. They're fakes. They're swamp approved, establishment blessed, sanitized for the protection of Washington, D.C. fake groups. We are not fake. We are normal people. We are fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. We don't have any secret agenda. We don't get money from any weird sources. We're not have any shady handshake deals with shady people. We don't do any of that shit. This problem is way too important to be pimping, which is what most of the other groups are doing. I'm very sorry to say that. Don't get me started. But if you want the straight dope, guys, this is the straight, unadulterated truth. And the straight dope is that we need your help right now. And if you don't help, you're fucking us, you're fucking yourself, pardon my French, you're screwing over a lot of people by not helping us right now, tonight. You can do a month worth of daily actions in probably half an hour, probably less than a half an hour right now while you're thinking about it. So don't let us down. Joanna says, get off your ass before time runs out. The clock is ticking, guys. The clock is ticking. We are the pioneers, guys. You can't unhear that. Like it or don't, we are the pioneers, and that is just the truth. What we do means, I think, almost everything. So, okay, guys, I got to give it up on the comments, but I appreciate everybody If I missed you on Twitter tonight, I apologize. Spread the word, guys. We're close. Let's make this week the strongest week ever for student loan justice. And don't only do our daily actions. You're smart. You've been to college. You can do way more than that. Think about it. Come up with something. Be clever. Be smart. Be creative. And help. We need you. So here's to this week, guys. Good luck to you all. Godspeed you all. And God bless everyone.